And welcome back to my vlog. We had a month of serious stuff there. I'm ready for a little relaxation. I had something I was going to talk about, and that is heat exhaustion, but I decided that can wait. The Old Schoolmaster's Reflections, Grandpa Sim's Blackberry Time. Don't know why I picked that. These aren't blackberries, they're black raspberries. It's blackberry time, blackberry picking time again. Last week I saw some bushes hanging heavy with the most luscious berries I have seen since I was a kid. If it were not for the fact that I hate jiggers more than I like blackberries, I would have picked some. I did snatch a handful from the edges before the jiggers could get ready to jump me. And they tasted just like I remembered. We used to train for the blackberry season for more than a month. First came strawberries, which lasted at least a month. They gradually petered out and raspberries took over. For a while, it would be strawberries one day and raspberries the next. And all this time, we would be watching the blackberry bushes for signs of ripe berries there. Strawberry picking was a picnic. You could crawl along on your knees on a nice bed of straw. Raspberries were pretty much of a cinch, too. The patches were usually out in the open, and you could get a bucket full without getting a scratch or a single mosquito bite. But with blackberries, it was different. Some of those blackberry bushes had thorns like swords. They had a hook on the tip so they could catch your arm or hand as you pulled it out of the bushes with a handful of berries. The blackberry patches were usually in swampy areas, and the mosquitoes were big and vicious. I have seen them use prize-fighter tactics in attacking an innocent victim. One swarm would feint an attack on the right side, and another swarm would take advantage of the opening and drill a few holes on the left side. After a session of blackberry picking, you were usually covered with blood and blackberry juice. Perspiration would permeate the deep scratches made by the briars and by scratching the bites, and it was agony. Another hazard that hit me once with great violence was caused by a lowly ant. They often picked the nicest berries upon which to feast, and so did I while I was picking. One time I popped a big fat one in my mouth and did not notice the big fat ant on the underside until too late. He sank his pincers in my tongue on the underside and injected some of his acid. It was painful. It hurt like the dickens. With the help of my friends, we finally tore him loose, and I think I swallowed him, but we had to go to the doctor to have him remove the pincers. We always started out very early in the morning, long before sunup, in order to beat the neighbors and the blackberry thieves. If we got there first, we soon had our buckets full, and we got back home before it got so hot. The grass and weeds and bushes were wet with dew, and we were soon wet from head to foot, too. Wet feet, wet clothes, briar scratches, mosquito bites, all for some blackberries. I often wondered if it was worth it. Then I would think of those delicious blackberry pot pies Ma used to make. She could bake a blackberry pie, too, that was simply heavenly. Her fresh ones were the best. But even along about Christmas time, her pies from canned berries were elegant, too. Our quota of canned blackberries used to be about 100 quarts. The whole family would go out to pick, and then the women would spend hours over the hot wood-fired stove getting them ready to can. We all went through a lot of punishment to get those berries where we wanted them. I used to have wild dreams when I would see patches of big, juicy berries hanging in thick bunches. I could see right where that patch was. Early next morning, I would hurry to the spot and find nothing. It was discouraging. But one day I did actually find such a patch after my bucket was almost full. I heaped them up, then filled my straw hat. On my way home, I went through the barnyard where our sheep were resting in the shade of a shed. A big buck got up and came over to investigate closer. He didn't like what he saw. He lowered his head and came charging. I ran for the board fence, but he hit my bucket before I got out of reach. All of those big fat berries were scattered on the barnyard ground. I could have killed him. He sauntered back to the shed, and I was able to retrieve some of my prize berries. Of course, they had to be washed thoroughly. In spite of the agony of bites and scratches, I never wanted to see the time come when there would be no more berries to pick. I did not want the season to end. The whole job became so much a part of my life, I wondered what I would do without blackberries to pick. Some people raised tame blackberries, but we would have none of it. They were tasteless, insipid. The same goes for tame raspberries, too. They were flat and had no tang. Take away the jiggers today, and I will cross rushing rivers, climb dangerous barbed wire fences, scratch my face and hands and arms and other parts of my anatomy, suffer the indignities of having a horde of mosquitoes, drink my precious blood, and leave a welt that will itch for a week, all for a bucketful of wild blackberries. Now let's sit down to the dinner table in the old summer kitchen under the big pear tree. Ma will dish up that delicious blackberry pot pie. Pa's prayer will be a little more fervent than usual. That's one scene I wish would last 1,000 years. Pretty nice. And all I have is tame and their raspberries. Like that. They're still pretty good. Make it a great day, and bye for now.